rise for the pledge. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilmember Irby. Councilmember Page.
If you yes.
Councilmember Page here.
Yes, here. Sorry.
Councilmember Fitch.
Here.
Councilmember Gray.
Present.
Councilmember Clancy. Here. Councilmember TRAKAS.
Present.
Councilmember Harder.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. The journal for the meeting of January 15th is not yet finalized, so we'll move to bid openings. We have no bid openings, so we'll move to communications.
Mr. Chair, we have no tax compromises this morning, so we'll move to zoning matters. Under zoning matters, item number 1, 3rd District.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered.
Item number 2, 3rd District.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered.
Item number 3, 4th District.
Receive and file.
So ordered.
Item number 4, 2nd District.
Receive, file, and the county council will be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation, and that will be the order.
We have nothing under road and bridge matters this morning, Mr. Chair, so we'll move to other communications. Under other communications, item number 1, 5th District.
Receive, file, and the agreement be approved as recommended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2, 4th District.
Receive, file, and refer to the Department of Transportation and Public Works, Department of Planning, and County Councilor.
So ordered.
Item number 3, 4th District.
Receive, file, and refer to the Department of Transportation and Public Works, Department of Planning, and the County Councilor.
So ordered.
Item number 4, all districts.
Receive and file, and that will be the order.
Item number 5, 6th District.
Receive, file, and the county council be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation, please.
So ordered.
Item number 6, 5th District.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered.
Item number 7.
Same motion through item number 10, and that will be the order.
Item number 11, 6th District.
Receive, file, and the county council be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered.
Item number 12.
We will hold this on the order of business and see if this person is able to come and meet us. And that will be the order. Please read the add-ons.
No add-ons this morning, Mr. Chair.
Report from the county executive. No report. Special committees.
Mr. Chair, please hold on the order of business.
So ordered. Public forum.
We have 3 speakers this morning, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Please come to the podium when your name is called. Adjust the microphone so we can capture your comments for the record. Please give us your name and address, and try to keep your comments to 3 minutes. First speaker.
First speaker today is Don Owens.
Honorable County Council, thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Don Owens, and I work at the Northwest Plaza location. I am a working manager of the IT business managers within the county IT department. There are a total of 8 county IT employees that make up this group. As IT business managers, we are embedded in various county departments and provide multiple services that require different skill sets. We function as IT managers, and as such, we are the primary point of contact for technology needs within each department. Some of these responsibilities include system support, problem resolution, vendor management, user training, and much more. In addition to managing the IT resources of the department, we also apply our business analysis skills. This allows us to understand the business processes and needs of the department. Because we are employees of the IT department, we have direct access to IT resources for the resolution of issues and for planning and managing of new projects. Additionally, we are required to follow established IT standards and processes. This structure provides consistency across the organization. The reason I am here is not to just tell you about the IT business managers, but bring to your attention that this entire team and the services we provide are slated to be eliminated due to the budget cuts imposed on IT for 2019. If our positions are cut, each of our respective departments will be severely handicapped, as the skill sets we provide are critical to the department's ability to deliver services to county citizens. The cuts will also set back any forward momentum that we have achieved in our efforts to make better use of information technology within the county enterprise. We do not believe that the county's intent was for anyone to lose employment as a result of the budget cuts. Unfortunately, that is not the case in our situation, as the funding for our positions will be eliminated as a result of the cuts to the IT budget. Given the critical nature of the work we do, losing the technical and institutional knowledge we possess diminishes the ability of the departments to streamline and improve their business processes by taking advantage of technology. Our team respectfully asks the council to actively work with the IT department to restore funding for our positions so we can continue to deliver services to the citizens of the county. If interested, we have handouts, which I've given to Gwen. She's handed out. Thank you for your time and attention and consideration of this important topic.
Chair,
Yes.
Don, what's the tenure of your individual team members?
We have combined 180
No,
years.
individually. I'm more interested in individually. What's the tenure of each person?
It ranges from 20 years to a couple of years between the two. So it spans the spectrum. I myself have 24 years, a couple others have 20-something years, plus we have a couple that only have a couple of years. So total combined IT experience of the team is about 180 years. Direct support to the county is about 100 years.
And the existence of your team, as you call it, how long has it been a team?
The IT business managers have been together for approximately 2 years. Before that, they were siloed within the departments, and there was no collaboration. There was minimal collaboration, which allowed silos to be created. The reason they were brought into the IT department is so that standards and processes could be combined, and we had to adhere to those.
And is it fair to say that in the last 2 years anyway, that's been the focus of your team?
Yes.
That's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
I do have one.
Yep.
Mr. Owens, you said eliminated, you mean laid off?
Yes.
And when would this take place?
My understanding is it would probably be towards the end of the month.
The end of this?
Funding is restored.
So like next week?
We haven't been given actual notice. But
Okay.
our understanding is we are slated to be laid off unless there are some recourse that is taken, either restoring the function.
And just so you know, one of the things we'll discuss here today is there's a agenda item about the cut to the police department that I will discuss later. And what I will do is we're going to ask for that to be put on the budget committee calendar. So one of the other things that I would like to know is how will all departments absorb the cuts that were given to them? So we will be looking for those kind of things, what the game plan is, how to absorb those cuts, and what the consequences of the cuts will be. Thank you.
Don?
Exactly. If I may, Mr. Chair, I want to tag on to Councilman Fitch's comment that this council is committed and I believe is going to hold hearings on an ongoing basis regarding the budget, the impact of the cuts. You need to understand, though, that there is a finite amount of money. It's not a bottomless pit, and that fiscal responsibility is not merely a luxury, it's essential. And so any department has the right to come back before this body and request a supplemental appropriation. To my knowledge, that hasn't been done yet by IT. So I would encourage you to have some conversations within the department about that. But it's not that we want to see anybody laid off. It's fact of the matter is there's a finite amount of funds. And that has to be addressed in a responsible way. So I encourage you, invite you to come back as a department for a hearing, but it's important that not just you, but every department gets significant scrutiny on where cuts are going to have an impact and whether or not we can sustain them.
I understand.
Don, do you know if we're going to hear from your department director, or are we going to work through the budget with you directly?
I believe so, that there's some action being taken place to present to the council.
Okay. Oh, hi, Rick. So maybe we can talk about this. It's rather unusual for us to hear from employees about
Right.
interdepartmental transfers instead of the department director, but, you know, maybe we can talk after the meeting and see what your goal is. We certainly have several $1 million in the IT budget, so, you know, a decision to cut the IT business manager, which seemed to be pretty important to the infrastructure of the county instead of equipment, is something that we'll have to understand. Okay, great. Well, we'll catch you after the meeting and start with the conversation.
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
I was gonna say something similar. I hadn't been made aware, and I don't know if anyone else on the council had been aware that this was in the process. And as the chairman mentioned, I would have expected to have heard from the director that this was imminent, so, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Izora Liggins.
Good afternoon. My name is Izora Liggins, 5320 Bermuda Road. When I last came before the council, it was to inform you that I was left with no other choice but to file a cause of action against Mr. Edward McGee, an employee in the prosecuting attorney's office for depriving me of my due process rights and his negligence in the handling of my charges. Just when I thought things for me could not get any worse, they have. I recently received a motion to dismiss my claim, and the attorney who entered his appearance is from the office of Mr. Peter Crane's office. I'm confused. I have came before the county executive and this council asking regularly who protects me and my family from corporate criminals. I have had several conversations with Mr. Crane and shared information and documents regarding my problems. It appears to me to be a conflict of interest for Mr. Crane's office to enter their appearance on Mr. McGee's behalf. I have brought my claim against Mr. McGee personally, and the taxpayers should not incur the expense of a defense for an alleged government employee who has infringed upon the taxpayer's right to process a criminal charge. I received information from the prosecuting attorney's office in response to my sunshine request. I was provided journals dated May 29th and June 26th, and I don't have all of them, but May 29th, I was very upset about my due process, and as you can see, we had extensive conversations. June 26th, I requested that Mr. Crane provide me with the information regarding my protection. You all must know how mentally upsetting it was to receive that motion to dismiss with Mr. Crane's name attached. June 12th, Journal set out my urgent pleas to get the council involved by way of the committees and its enforcement powers. To date, that has not been done. I would like to request, one, the office of Peter Crane withdraw from the cause of action Izora Liggins versus Edward McGee. This would allow Mr. McGee to proceed with his own defense and not on the taxpayers' dollars. Mr. Crane can explain to me why that is not possible. Two, create a resolution that will hold lawyers accountable who fail to do their due diligence before signing on to matters. As I have stated adamantly, the redress I seek is to hold Mr. McGee accountable for depriving me of my constitutional rights and his negligence in the handling of my charges. Furthermore, the redress I seek is in the public's interest. and will contribute to the public understanding of the handling of initial charges and the prosecuting attorney's investigation process regarding crimes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Final speaker this morning is Tom Sullivan.
Mr. Chairman, I have several things to mention. I filed a complaint against the council with the Attorney General's office for violating the Sunshine Law. This has to do with voting to override the county executive's veto at the January 3rd meeting. The law requires that the agenda apprise the public of what is to take place at the meeting, and just listing the veto letter under other communications is not adequate. No one would know a vote was to take place. There will be additional complaints against the council for failing to provide records having to do with nominees to various boards and commissions. The law and an Attorney General's opinion is on my side. The Attorney General's office eventually filed a lawsuit against the county executive's office after repeated violations of the Sunshine Law. The same needs to be done with the council. At last week's meeting, prosecuting attorney Wesley Bell requested $1.5 million more every year. It's great that he has new ideas, but I would be leery of a request made by someone who has only been in office for 10 minutes. There are matters that seem to have been forgotten by the council that you might want to put on the agenda for 2019, assuming there is an agenda. In 2016, the council tried to deal with some considerable housing problems in some parts of the county. Nothing was accomplished, but the issue isn't going away. The council rules are still badly in need of upgrading. You started revising them in February of 2017, but little progress was made, and the effort went by the wayside. Nothing has been accomplished with Jamestown Mall. It was 10 years ago that I told the council about how the mall was failing and needed some attention. That resulted in Charlie Dooley screaming at me, and Michael Mara said, not to worry, he is meeting with the mall owners. We saw how that turned out. One of the council's biggest failures is not overseeing the hundreds of millions of dollars appropriated for the Metro Transit Agency. People are having a difficult time getting to jobs in West County using public transit. The issue of security on MetroLink has drug on for a long time with nothing resolved. Security on buses also needs to be addressed. Chief Belmore talks to Elliot Davis more than he talks to the council. By the way, Talby Roach was a terrible choice for the new Metro CEO. It isn't known what the county auditor is doing these days. One job for him would be to find out how many county employees resigned last year. That would be good information for the council to know. MSD has a stormwater proposal on the April ballot that might interest the council. Stormwater control is another issue that has been long neglected. Declining neighborhoods and crime are ongoing issues. As I mentioned at the budget hearing, in 2001, County Executive Buzz Westfall and Councilman Kurt Oldwald were promoting a proposal called Proposition CC for community comeback, saying the county was experiencing many of the same problems as the city. The situation has not gotten any better. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Tom.
Mr. Chair, if I may, for 1 moment. Mr. Sullivan brings up a good point. I believe that we're at the point where the police department owes this council a presentation regarding MetroLink security. We asked for it within 90 days. We're knocking on the door of that. We're going to have a hearing to give them more money. Then I think that's fair game as well. So I want to make sure we set aside enough time to address those issues, because frankly, that Metro security matter has dragged on insufferably for too long.
You know, I'll follow up on that. It is time for a hearing on security on the MetroLink, for sure. No comments? Okay.
No more speakers, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. This concludes the public forum. Please proceed with introduction of bills.
Bill number 22, introduced by Councilmember Page, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to accept a grant of up to $169,597.89 from the Missouri Secretary of State, appropriating the same for support of acquisition of new voting equipment, and authorizing the county executive to execute necessary documents. Mr. Chair, the next bill was requested by Councilwoman Irby. Will someone be introducing that for her?
I will. Oh, child. Push it out.
Bill number 23, introduced by Councilmember Walton Gray for Councilmember Irby, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute an amendment to a contract with ShotSpotter Incorporated for modification of ShotSpotter coverage boundaries. Bill number 24, introduced by Councilmember Page, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to accept a grant of up to $100,000 from the City of St. Louis Department of Health appropriating the same for support of the HIV Prevention Services Risk Reduction Activities Project, and authorizing the county executive to execute necessary documents, including a subcontract with E. Rice Williams and Associates Incorporated. Mr. Chair, that is all the bills.
Correction.
Substitute Bill number 1 for Bill number 208, introduced by Councilmember Walton Gray.
I move to drop substitute bill number 1 for bill number 208 from the order of business, please.
Substitute Bill number 1 for Bill 208 will be dropped.
Bill number 270, introduced by Councilmember Wassinger for Councilmember Tracas.
Please hold the new order of business.
Bill 270 will be held.
Bill number 339, introduced by Councilmembers Walton Gray and Page.
Please hold.
Bill number 339 will be held.
Bill number 15, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move to perfect Bill number 15.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 15 is perfected.
Bill number 16, introduced by Councilmember Clancy.
I move to perfect Bill number 16.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 16 is perfected.
Bill number 17, introduced by Councilmember Fitch.
As I mentioned earlier, I'll ask for this to be discussed at a future Budget Committee meeting. I've talked to the chairwoman, so at this point, I will hold on the order of business.
Bill number 17 is held.
Bill number 18, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move to hold Bill number 18, and 18 will be held.
Bill number 20, introduced by Councilmember Harder.
Please hold.
Bill number 20 is held.
Bill number 21, introduced by Councilmember Harder.
I move to perfect Bill number 21.
Second.
Then
I
I'd like to hold for a hearing after that.
I would be happy to support your bill, but we're going to need at least some revisions to this.
Yeah.
When is your plan? What's your plan to work on the language?
Hopefully work with the legal office to find out, the language that make it cleaner. There's been some resolutions in other municipalities that had some cleaner language, and I'll probably be adopting some of that language. And I'd like to hold this, once it's perfected, hold it for a hearing in March.
Well, I'm certainly supporting the concept that St. Louis County needs to determine its own form of governance. I think that's the fundamental structure of your
Right.
resolution or ordinance. And I think we were all on record of that. We had a similar resolution about a year ago.
Correct.
My concern is that this might be misunderstood as a vote on a merger that has not been adequately discussed with the county residents. And in fact, we had some folks come here last week that thought that this was a bill to approve a
Right.
merger.
And that's why I want
like
to work on the language, and we can do that with a hearing in March.
Okay, Councilman Tracas.
Clearly, perfection's premature.
Yeah.
We're going to, by Councilman Carter's own admission, work on the language, hold hearings. There's no need to perfect it tonight. So I would oppose that.
Yeah.
I think the matter should be held pending a hearing and substitute language.
I do as well. To perfect and hold is kind of redundant at the same time.
So I'll withdraw my motion, and I'll hold this bill.
Okay, so there's a motion to hold the bill, and 21 will be held, but I do want to recognize that what Councilman Hart is trying to do is something that's widely supported among the council, and we're on record with a resolution a year or two ago that we do believe that any decision about the form of governance of St. Louis County will be determined by St. Louis County voters, and I believe that's where you're going with your ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I would like to add something. I was not on the council a couple of years ago when this was discussed. I would urge all of us to keep an open mind right now and not draw lines in the sand that are going to keep us from having a productive conversation that our region needs to have. I will be awaiting what, how this bill might shape up so that I can fully consider it. But I think that the important thing here is there's a bigger picture conversation that we owe it to our region to have currently and to future generations to really think about how this region is structured so that people are better served. And I would really caution us to draw lines in the sand that are going to thwart that conversation that we need to have.
Okay. To be continued. Final passage.
Please,
Oh, did you have something to say? Final passage.
Bill number 258, introduced by Councilmember Walton Gray.
please hold.
258 will be held.
Bill number 271, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Please hold. 271. 271 will be held.
Substitute Bill number 1 for Bill number 6, introduced by Councilmember Harder.
I move for final passage of substitute Bill 1 for Bill number 6.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby. Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch.
Aye.
Councilmember Gray.
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy.
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on substitute Bill number 1 for Bill number 6, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Substitute Bill number 1 for Bill number 6 is finally passed.
Bill number 7, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move for final passage of Bill number 7.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby. Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch.
Aye.
Councilmember Gray.
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy.
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 7, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 7 is finally passed.
Bill number 8, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move for final passage of Bill number 8.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby. Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch.
Aye.
Councilmember Gray.
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy.
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 8, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 8 is finally passed.
Bill number 9, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move for final passage of Bill number 9.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby. Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch.
Aye.
Councilmember Gray.
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy.
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 9, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 9 is finally passed.
Bill number 10, introduced by Councilmember Page. Mr. Chair, we have a substitute bill.
I move to hold Bill number 10. I'd like to talk more about the substitute. Bill number 10 will be held.
Bill number 11, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move for final passage of Bill number 11.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby. Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch.
Aye.
Councilmember Gray.
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy.
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 11, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 11 is finally passed.
Bill number 12, introduced by Councilmember Walton Gray.
I move for final passage of Bill number 12.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby. Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch.
Aye.
Councilmember Gray.
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy.
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 12, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 12 is finally passed.
Bill number 13, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move for final passage of Bill number 13.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby. Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch.
Aye.
Councilmember Gray.
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy.
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 13, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 13 is finally passed.
Bill number 14, introduced by Councilmember Clancy.
I move for final passage of Bill number 14.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby. Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch.
Aye.
Councilmember Gray.
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy.
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 14, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 14 is finally passed.
Bill number 19, introduced by Councilmember Tracus.
Mr. Chair, if I may have a moment before I move on this particular piece of legislation.
Yes.
I just want to point out that, for the record, this is the legislation that will codify the charter amendment that was passed by the voters with respect to interdepartmental transfers, one of which we talked about earlier this evening, and there is a host of transfers on the agenda tonight for this afternoon. And I just want to point out that this is a great step towards fiscal responsibility, accountability, so we don't aren't confronted with situations like we are today with a plethora of requests for transfers. So it may take a little time to get this running smoothly, but it is a step in the right direction with respect to making sure that budgetary decisions made by this body are in fact implemented in the budget as we go forward. So with that, Mr. Chair, I move for final passage of Bill number 19.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby? Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch?
Aye.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy?
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 19, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 19 is finally passed.
Moving on to resolutions, Mr. Chair, we have 7 this evening. Resolutions number 1 through 7, introduced by Councilmember Tracus.
Move for adoption of resolutions numbers 1 through 7, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby? Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch?
Aye.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy?
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on resolutions 1 through 7, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Resolutions 1 through 7 are adopted.
Moving on to unfinished business, Mr. Chair, item number 1, First District.
I move to hold items number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think 6. No, 5. 1 through 5.
Items 1 through 5 will be held.
Item number 6.
Hold on the order of business, same motion through item number 20, and that will be the order.
Item number 21, Sixth District.
A moment, please. Receive, file, and the new liquor license be approved as requested.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And moving on to new business, Mr. Chair, we have 2 prepared orders this evening.
Can we move those?
I move that order number 1 and order number 2 be approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Orders 1 and 2 are approved. Yes.
I'd like to correct on order number 2, I need to change my vote to abstain.
Can you record that? Abstention, Mr. Harder, order number 2. Thank you.
Chair. Discuss.
We do need to schedule a hearing on our cost of living increase for county employees. It's held over for the past couple of weeks, but I would like to get that on agenda. But I would like to understand what the county council is thinking in the way of our pay study, which is another piece of legislation that is moving forward and providing a small cost of living increase for our county employees. Anyone started to process this question yet?
Well, I think we talked about the pay study, and we sent a letter to administration about that. And is that the procedure, or do we have to vote to move that forward? I thought we were just getting RFPs.
Pay study will be a contract, so that will have to be with the cooperation of the county executive if we're going to do it. Have you gotten a response yet on your
I
letter?
have not, no. I think the letter just went out this week to
Okay.
Paul Kreidler. Maybe if he's here, maybe he could comment on that.
Looks like not.
No comment.
Okay,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
before we adjourn, I want to go back to new business for a moment. Requested as of January 3rd, 2019, an order approving the density development procedure for the Arbors Lion Gate. I'd like to move for adoption of that order.
Do you have that?
We don't have that order in the
It's on the packet.
packet.
It was held over from last week.
Right, held over from
It's
last
been
week.
distributed to the council.
That was number 2.
Can we adopt something that's been previously distributed? Does it have to go out this week?
Well, it's on the agenda, so I think it can be adopted. The order's been prepared, and actually, I believe it was in the packet last week.
It was.
Yeah, okay. So what we'll do is we'll get it down according to the dictates of the council and get it down to the chair.
Okay,
That would be order number 3 then.
okay.
Re-number it.
Does everybody know what order we're talking about? We've held it for a couple of weeks.
That's why I was confused on the order, because it was in my book as order number 2, but that was last week's order number 2. I thought we held it over and
Well,
voted on it.
it becomes renumbered based on the order of our business, but it'll, Ernie, the order will have a code at the top.
I have it.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Sure.
when you hold an order, really it's the, request for the order that, stays on the agenda, not the actual drafted order itself.
So what did we vote on then, this go-around?
So we adopted the 2 orders that were on the agenda, and they become numbered in the order of adoption. And if we adopt another order, it will become order number 3.
And that, Mr. Chair, again, if I might, that would be the order, the same order that you had from last week, just renumbered, the same language otherwise.
We've done this a couple of times, but certainly the orders are pre-numbered with a number that assumes will be their number if we adopt them.
For the record, Mr. Chair, it's, as of January 15th, 2019, order number 2. It's on the docket last night, or the agenda last week, it's on tonight's agenda. I don't see any reason why we can't pass the order, or adopt the order.
So the only difference that will be made to the actual order that is signed, Mr. Chair, will be that it will be renumbered and the date will be updated to today's date.
So what will the number be then?
Prepared order 03.
Thank you.
Any
Is
other
that,
questions?
So do we vote on that?
is that
right?
the Lionsgate?
Yes.
Lionsgate?
Yes.
Everyone understand the order?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion to adopt order number 3. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Councilman Hart is abstained.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any other business to discuss? Any other comments by council members? Okay, hearing none. Is there-
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.
Just roll over.